Arthur, I'd like to introduce Alan Arthur from St. Williams. He was so kind to get us going with the seed in the spring. So Alan is got a huge operation in St. Williams, and I don't know if everybody remembers St. Williams that time. How long has it been now in your care now?
I got involved with it in 2009.
Yeah.
It was St. Williams was the first forestry station in Canada. It was set up by the Ontario government back in 1908. It was privatized by Mike Harris in 1999. And it went through a couple of iterations. Basically, they were growing trees for the little tiny trees for reforestation in the north. And in 2009, I've been working on projects, road projects. I'm actually an ecologist. I've worked as an ecologist for about 25 years, so even longer, you know, it puts me older than Marty. So. But I've been doing it for a long time, and one of the things that why I got interested in the opportunity at the nursery was we were working on large-scale projects. We couldn't find native plants that were truly Ontario native, and it's kind of got to the point where, okay, put your money where your mouth is, and I had an opportunity, and we started St. Williams Nursery and Ecology Center in 2009. Rick mentioned about timing, and I think the timing for us, fortunately, was bang on. I like to tease my dad. As a kid, when we were young, he'd send us out in the field, we'd corn or whatever it was at that time, and we had to pull milkweed out of the fields, get it out of the pasture. Now that is my crop. I grow milkweed, and I tell him, you know, you had me pulling this out. I'd sell $30,000 in milkweed. What were you doing? What were you thinking? So it's timing. People are getting excited about it. You know, I would say even 20 years ago, it would have been a hard thing to promote, but now we're, you know, global warming, Phragmites. We've got these problems. We're becoming aware of what we've done to the landscape, and using natives. And this is one of the interesting things that I've found. We've actually shown in a lot of, we're doing mine restoration up in Labrador, in Northern Ontario. We're hoping to be in the tar sands. We're actually able to do the restoration, and these, what I call ecologically integrated landscape solutions are cheaper than what we've been doing. When you start to look at the whole long term, it may be easier to start non-natives in some cases, but when they convert along our roadsides into weedy areas, and then frag gets going, and now we got to deal with Phragmites, the cost is, and people that are involved with trying to control it understand the cost. So as a holistic approach, using natives just in terms of the plants and restoring the biodiversity, which is what we try to do at St. Williams and why we started it, it makes economic as well as a good environmental sense. And those two, you put those two together, and you got basically a winning formula. We've done very well. We're glad to be part of this. One of the things I do know, and when we speak to all the people we work with, conserving biodiversity is not something we're going to do ourselves. We do one small aspect, but we need partners. We need partners on the ground doing initiatives like this. I think this is fantastic, and we're happy to be a part of it. So we've, did do some of the seeding. I think the challenges will be, how do we grow this thing? Because I truly believe that there's a great opportunity for the industry. There's only two really native seed producers. There's more native plant, but native seed suppliers, Rural Land and Stewardship, and ourselves are the only real commercial entities that exist in Ontario. Everything else is kind of importation from the States, where they've had good programs that the government supported the development of the industry, and now through, say, Ontario Seed Company or Pick Seed, they're happy to broker that seed in here. But what we want to do is we want Ontario natives. We have biologists on staff. We go out and collect from remnant populations. There's less than 3% of, it's very small areas that are still native. We can go out and we can harvest those, we scale those up, and then we can actually put it back in.
Less than 3% in Ontario?
For prairie, for different things. Some species even less than that. It used to be, the stuff used to be all over the landscape.
Right.
We've altered it, and now we have to work to put it back, just like the bees, right? And I think once we put the habitat back, you'll see these, the bee population, these things will be needed to help start the ball rolling. But if you put the proper plants there, and it's not just for bees. I mean, birds. The one interesting thing is, there's a huge bird seed industry. It's worth probably in North America billions of dollars, right? Selling bird seed. We're not protecting bird populations by giving them bird seed. What they need is they need insects. They need native insects. Native insects live off of native plants. So if you want because birds need protein to fledge their young, and you don't get that from the seeds. That's just to get them close to your window. So it's great, I like that people feed birds, but, you know, as an ecologist, you kind of know it at a deeper level and you realize, you know, so we have to do some of our own marketing to get this going. But it's a great initiative, I'm happy to be involved, so yeah, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, well, thank you for getting us involved. They have a huge operation down there.
Well, it's not
I
huge.
mean,
It's
but, you know,
big,
I
it's
don't
not
think
huge.
you're gonna be able to keep up with enough seed, that's gonna be a problem. is
Well,
getting
that's it,
enough seed.
we're working with MTO and OMAFA right now, and there's a big interest, come on in. And that's my concern, to be honest, is that we don't have enough people in the industry to, if this takes off, to meet the demand.
What about a seed collection type program, which I'm
We,
thinking about, that's, you know, could that be feasible where the public and could get involved in picking?
well, again, that's a great way to
And
partner.
dropping it off seed to,
Well, absolutely. Like one of the things that we're actually looking at through St. Williams, and you know, there used to be the Ontario Tree Seed Plan,
yeah.
and so when you look at tree seeds, and now that's being closed. I don't know if people are aware of that, but the Tree Seed Plan is. So you have government now certainly creating policies and mandating biodiversity conservation, but on the ground, you know, there's not that many people doing it. And so yes, a native seed collection network. But there still has to be an industry built around it, because you can't just collect enough to put it back out there in the scale that we need to do it. You know, there's two businesses right now. There could be it's a big industry in the U.S. It could be an Ontario industry, but we need the support of government, CFIA type regulations on source identification for native plants, those type of things. We've been working on some of those, but we really need to engage, you know, the broader public and politicians.
Yeah, I see like New Jersey, I saw an article in New Jersey, it's all native, they want anything that goes back in there, it has to be native, all along the ditches, everywhere.
Yeah, and that's how we got working on the 407, was we actually showed that in restoring, we could do restoration. It was kind of before the frag issue, but we were able to show that using the natives was actually cheaper in the long run for them, and they had to do less mowing and maintenance to maintain them, so.